Manchester City, did they buy their success? Big up everybody inside. Please make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. We're going to get into this today. This is on the aftermath of Manchester City losing to Manchester United in the FA Cup. Jeremy Doku did score for Man City, but they were defeated 2-1. But Manchester City did win the Premier League this year. So we're just going to be looking into this and having a conversation about what people think about the success that Manchester City has experienced. And we're going to be doing this looking at the history of Manchester City. We're going to look at some of its successes. And I really want to get some comments from you people in the chat as to whether you think that Manchester City bought their success. Now, allegedly, I did remember hearing a couple of, I think it was even this season or last season, that there was a suspicion that they might actually be docked points or something along those lines due to trades and stuff. I don't know all the detail of it, but, you know, people have a lot of questions, especially when you see a team which, you know, obviously Manchester United had a period, Liverpool's had a period more recently, Leicester City had that season where they really came into form and won the Premier League. But Manchester City, and yes, I can't forget Chelsea faced similar accusations as well as to whether they had bought success for themselves. Now, I guess the contrast when we're looking at whether a team is buying success or not, we're going to put it down to two main things. One is whether they're actually developing their youth players into, you know, players who become part of the senior squad who then bring success to the club, or whether there's a focus on bringing players from other teams in abroad, and you can do so by the investments in the organisation. As I said, Chelsea had faced allegedly similar accusations of buying success, particularly when we're talking about the Roman Abramovich era, so to speak. And if you look now, I mean, Chelsea's still doing okay, I think. I mean, they did secure Raheem Sterling, who is a big name player. But, you know, this is something that I thought would be useful to look at. But as I say, please make sure you comment, like, share and subscribe. The channel's really growing. We really appreciate the subscribers. We appreciate the watchers and the listeners. We really want to hear your comments on, you know, the content that's on this channel. Really like producing it for you. So thanks very much. Like, comment, share and subscribe. But yeah, Manchester United. Now, I would say from what I saw, particularly in the let's say the early noughties to the mid noughties, Manchester United, and even probably a little bit before as well, Manchester United seemed to be a team that did use sort of homegrown players to progress successfully. Obviously, they faced challenge by Chelsea, and they faced challenges from the likes of Liverpool. Now, Liverpool's not really been successful in securing league titles as far as I'm aware, but they have had success in the Champions League. Arsenal have not had success in the Champions League, but they have had periods when I think they had a two-season run at one point as the Invincibles. So Arsenal secured Premier League, Liverpool's got that Champions League focus, and they've got, I mean, we're going to have to say it, Liverpool really have Champions League pedigree. But here we've got a situation where Manchester United, who haven't really performed really well this season, beat Manchester City in the FA Cup final. And the irony is that I guess some people thought that Manchester City would try to repeat the success, what was it, of the 2023 or 2022 season, where they got the treble. Amazing achievement. That treble is the Premier League, the Champions League, and also an FA Cup, as I understand it, and that's extraordinary success. But just going to look at the team, Manchester City FC, professional club, based in Manchester. I know there's that sort of running dialogue as to what's the main team in Manchester between Manchester City and Manchester United. They were founded in 1880, St Mark's Gorton. They became the Ardwick Association Football Club in 1887, and Manchester City formerly in 1894. And you can see on the crest that Manchester City has 1894 on the crest. The club emblem, the club logo. As I say, their current ground is the City of Manchester Stadium. The owner of the club is a owner called City Football Group Limited, whose chairman is Khaldoon Al Mubarak. As I say, usually, everything on this channel is alleged for entertainment purposes, won't be held liable, etc, for entertainment purposes. But that some rudimentary research suggests that the owner is a company called City Football Group Limited, chairman Khaldoon Al Mubarak, the manager Pep Guardiola. And we're definitely going to be getting into Pep Guardiola's role in bringing success to Manchester City. And I must say this, I was looking at a statistic recently, and people can fact check me in the comments if they see fit, but Pep Guardiola in the last 15 years has only lost 3 league titles, and he's forced teams to achieve in the Premier League at least 97 points, 93 points, etc, to even try to stay level. And even upon achieving that level of points, they've still not been able to beat Manchester City in securing the Premier League title. It's quite an amazing feat. So is there an argument that, when you can get a manager like Pep Guardiola, who's had that level of success, and people might run the argument and say, well, Pep Guardiola is coming from teams with similar spending power, and therefore if you can spend the money to get the best players, you're going to get the best results. But surely management and strategy must fall to be part of the way that you obtain those successes. So just a little bit on Pep Guardiola there, just throwing a little statistic there. Apparently 15 seasons, only 3 league losses across the relevant league in the country that he was managing in at the time. Anyway, back to the history of Manchester City. So look, they've got 10 league titles. As you know, anybody who's been following Manchester City really, and I must say, look, this video is a bit of a shout to some of the people who might be doing a bit of glory hunting, because let's be honest, prior to say 2020, a lot of people wouldn't have been supporting Manchester City. Let's be honest. So go to the mirror, stop what you're doing, whatever you're doing right now, go to the mirror if you've got that blue jersey on, and ask yourself, am I a glory hunter? Real question. Ask yourself, are you a glory hunter for only now supporting Manchester City because they've been doing well? And were you really a supporter of Manchester United or something before? But anyway, little joke, but I'm sure there's a lot of and I saw it with Chelsea. A lot of people started to support Chelsea when they were doing well. I've seen it happen over again. And the traditional glory hunting club is Manchester United, because with Manchester United, a lot of people who support Manchester United don't even live in Manchester. So where they get the tie from. Liverpool's similar too as well. A lot of people support these teams. They're nowhere near the area where these teams are located. But if you are on glory hunt, you're gonna glory hunt, aren't you? Anyway, back. So they've got 10 league titles, won 4 consecutively between 2020 to now, essentially 2024. first English side to do so. They've got 7 FA Cups. Did lose the FA Cup. Well, it's today really, my time. But they've got 8 League Cups, 6 FA Community Shields. They've got a Champions League. That's very important. 1 European Cup Winners' Cup. That's the one below. 1 UEFA Super Cup and 1 FIFA Club World Cup. So they joined the Football League in 1892. And they've won their first FA Cup in 1904. And the first major period of success was in the 1960s and 1970s, where they won the league title at the time, and they also won FA Cup, League Cup and European Cup Winners' Cup under the management of Joe Mercer and Malcolm Allison. Then they lost the 1981 FA Cup final, and then that's when they went through a sort of period of decline and were relegated to the 3rd tier of English football in 1998. And then they gained promotion to the top tier in 2001, and they've remained since 2002 to 2003. So had a few ups and downs then, but then this is where things start to become a bit interesting, because in 2008 Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, through a group called the Abu Dhabi United Group in August 2008, invested in the club, and then they started to have some successes, including winning the FA Cup in 2011, and they did get a Premier League title in 2012. Is that when? I think that's when Raheem Sterling was at the club. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think that's when he was. Both their first since the 1960s, and then they had another league title in 2014. So things started to pick up for them. So yeah, I mean, since 2011, really they've been doing extraordinarily well. Then they get another title in 2018. So you got this period, and where it really, the train really starts to go under the management of Pep Guardiola. They've achieved 100 points in a single season, 2018, and 2008 and 2019 they won 4 trophies, all the domestic titles in England. That's amazing, really, if you think about it. And look, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm gonna, full disclosure, but I'm trying to be as non-biased as possible in the presentation that I'm currently doing here. But yeah, first English men's team to win the domestic treble, and then, as I say, 2020 to 2024, and they got to the Champions League final, but they did lose to Chelsea then, the 2 financial juggernauts, as I'll call them, in the final in 2021 Champions League. Good for English football though, no doubt, having 2 English teams in the Champions League final. And then 22 to 2023 they won a treble and the Champions League. Amazing. So in terms of money, they had the second highest revenue in the world at 825 million euros at the end of 2022 to 23. And then, so look, there's some good business going on here. The club was the 6th most valuable in the world at $4.250 billion, Forbes in 2022. And the value, according to the holding company, as of November 2019, was 3.73 billion or 4.8 billion. I mean, that may have gone up or down. I'm not going to comment on the finance. I'm not a financial expert, but that's something along those lines. So let me just going back to the title. So did they buy success? Well, look, there was some investment. I'm sure other clubs, if you do the right sales pitches, you can get investment, and then you can get some new players. But look, if you think about it, if you give a good manager $1 and you give a poor manager $1, I can imagine that the good manager's probably going to get more from that dollar than the other. So the argument that it's just a case of chucking money at the wall and hoping things change, I don't think that's it. I think like if I'm being real, it's going to require some level of skill and application to make changes in the organisation to cause success. Because ultimately, if you got, you know, two top 11 best players, if they don't know how to work together to, you know, get results, if they're competing with each other, if they don't have a good team spirit, it's just, if they can't win on a rainy day at night in scope. So if you got these prima donna players, but they don't want to be kicked about on a rainy night in Stoke, which is often an analogy that is used in circumstances such as this, then they're not really going to be successful. And having this unprecedented level of success, four straight titles, a smattering of other titles in the early 2010s, it's not a coincidence. I think they've had some type of mindset change. And bear in mind, they've also had the experience from the 1960s and 1970s of how not to do things well. You see what I mean? Of how not to do things well. And then, you know, it's either you're going to learn or you're not going to learn from those experiences. And I should say the club has certainly learned from those experiences with the work that they've done. Obviously, they've had, you know, various different managers across that time, including people like Kevin Keegan, who's a good footballer himself. They've had Joe Royal, I think I referred to him before. They had a period of time financially where a gentleman called Thaksin Shinawatra took over the club, but there were some legal issues there. Allegedly. Robinho came to the club from Real Madrid. That broke them. See, this is where the money buying success arguments come in, because you got Robinho, who's a good player for Brazil, coming from Real Madrid for 32.5 million in August, I think it's around August 2008, which broke the British transfer record. And what happened thereafter? So I said that they had a league win in either 2010 or 2011. So, you know, that brought on some change. And then 2009. Now let's see if there's any homegrown talent here. Well, they would have had some homegrown members in the team, but look, they spent 100 million. That's a lot of money. 100 million pounds in the summer of 2009. So this is where the scale tips in the favour of suggesting that they did buy success. And let me make an admission as well. Actually, look, as I said before, I am an Arsenal fan. However, I'm going to say this. This is a full frank admission. On FIFA, I played with Manchester City for quite some time. Certainly, I can remember from those times, 2010, 2011, Manchester City was my club until I switched to PSG in around, you know, for seasons, in around, probably around 2020, maybe 2019, 2020. I switched to Paris Saint-Germain. But I was rocking Manchester City. I'm not gonna lie. I should have been rocking Arsenal. Sorry, my Arsenal fans, but you know, Manchester City, they had some of our players anyway. Look, they had Yaya Toure, they had Emmanuel Adebayor. You can't criticise me for that, not at all, really. So those are the players that I was playing with on FIFA. And it's representative of what the club was doing. So 100 million, Gareth Barry, Roque Santa Cruz, Yaya Toure, Emmanuel Adebayor, Carlos Tevez and Julian Lescott. They got Mark Hughes, who had been a manager briefly. Then they got Robert Mancini. So they're getting some, you know, high class manager involved. They finished that season 2009 well, I think it's 2009 to 2010 in 5th position. Missed out on the Champions League, but they did qualify for the Europa League Cup. And then this is referred to as the second golden era. So they continued investment. Pep arrives. City 2011, they reached the first major final in 30 years, and they defeated Manchester United in the profile. So it'd be fair to say that Manchester United's reign as, you know, a winner of many cups was coming to an end to some extent. Well, it's been revived again with that FA Cup win over the same team, a derby, should I say, in 2024, because Manchester United has won the FA Cup recently, so that's different. But they got an FA Cup in 2011, and they also beat Arsenal for 3rd place. Oh dear. So they're straight into the Champions League, having some big victories. They had a 5-1 victory over Tottenham at White Hart Lane. So this is what's happened. You know, they've got they've got some good chess pieces. They had Mancini, then they had Manuel Pellegrini. First year in charge, won the League Cup and the Premier League title, but on the last match day of the season. Then Pep, with experience from Barcelona and Bayern Munich, started 1st of February 2016. No cups the first year, but they were 3rd in the league standings. Not the worst result, but you know, for a man of Pep's stature, that might have been diminution, should I say. Nonetheless, it all kicked off and they just started winning, and I've already said earlier on what they were winning. So, you know, a lot of change there, and it's very interesting to see that development happen. It is really interesting to see the development. I mean, look, I'm weighing on the side of money talking. I can't lie. I am weighing on that side of money talking. But if we're going to put it as a percentile, I would put it to 30%. Well, 35% money and 65% good management in changing things around. And sometimes, you know, sometimes it's just your time as well. You know, nobody is going to be at the top forever. I mean, that based on what you could see in the Premiership over the last 30 years or so. I mean, it wasn't the Premier League before the 90s. It had, I think it was the First Division or whatever it was. But nobody's going to be at the top forever, and it seems that they had an opportunity, and Manchester City has tried to stay at the top with that opportunity, with diminishing results from other teams. And even when I say diminishing results from other teams, that's not even necessarily a fair criticism anyway, because as I said earlier in relation to Pep's tenure at the club, teams still have to even get 97. Look, bear in mind, I said that I think the Premiership record was 100 points in the season, which Manchester City did have. But imagine having to get just 3 under that, and you're still only coming second. It's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to cope with. So I'm way more on the side of not just being a money thing. And let's look at some of the players of the year. I mean, they just get some really good pieces. Look, players like Sean Wright-Phillips, 2003, their player of the year. Sylvain Distin, I think, played for France 2002 to 03. I was looking for the Earle Haarland of recent, because he's definitely won at least one. A mainstay who's done particularly well for them include Richard Dunn and Kevin De Bruyne, who's won it, the player of the year, 4 times, at least 4 times now. A key player for them. Might look at his the role that he's played. A player from, where is he from? Is it the Belgium? Is it? I think he's from Belgium. Yaya Toure's won it as well. Yaya Toure is one of my favourite players, actually. I must say, a very skilled midfielder. I think he had a season. It was for them, actually. He had a season for them, and he was scoring. He was able to score at every opportunity that he had, chance that he took, or something along those lines. And he was also scoring at the time more than the strikers from a midfield position. Just looking at Pep's history a bit. I mean, gentleman born in 1971, Josep Pep. So the Josep Pep Guardiola Sala. He's from Catalan, so I think Catalan's a particular part of Spain. And he used to play as a defensive midfielder himself. He did play at Barcelona, and he was part of, he was part of Johan Cruyff's dream team that won the club's first European Cup in 1992 and 4 successful Spanish league titles in 99 to 94. So this is somebody who has been successful in his own right as a player, and he's brought that success onto management. And I must say, that's not something that often happens, but he's been able to achieve that. Barcelona B, he led Barcelona to a continental treble of La Liga, the Copa del Rey in his first season, and UEFA Champions League, and he's the youngest manager. Now I'm just going to pause here to say, you see, this is a criticism levied at Pep, okay? That of course you're going to win the title, or you're going to win trebles if you join a club which is essentially world class and at the top of its game. I think the problem with that theory as standing unchallenged is, well, you've got other teams who could do similar things who you're still battling with at the time. So, for example, Pep would be battling with a Real Madrid, or odd performances from some of the other clubs in Spain. And obviously, if you're, in his first league he won the Champions League, that he's gonna have been competing with other clubs from across Europe as well. You still have to get those results. Let's be honest. And your world class players, you'd hope they perform, but they may not on occasion. But I just wanted to deal with that, because that is a criticism levied at managers who join top clubs. And again, he's done it by joining Bayern Munich 2013, won the Bundesliga in each of the 3 seasons. Again, some might say, oh, he's only doing it because of course they're going to win, because they're the best club, they got the best players, and they're going to win. He still needs to arrange those results through good management. Is that fair to say? You tell me in the comments. What do you think about that? Does he still have to do something over and above in order to get those results? Let's have a think about that. Let's have a think about that. But anyway, that's Pep, and of course he forwards. He goes to Manchester City, and he gets 4. And I'm pretty sure now, at the moment, he's probably regarded as the best manager that the Premiership has ever had. Let's be honest. I mean, he's got the evidence for it. 4 straight. So it's amazing, really. And that's Pep. Another key player. So Kevin De Bruyne has won the Player of the Year for Manchester City at least 4 times. He's 32 now. Yeah, when I used to play with Manchester City for FIFA, he wasn't that age. He was a bit younger, but he started at Genk. I'm pretty sure he plays for Belgium. And his statistics are amazing. So he's a regular player for Genk in the Belgian Pro League. he joined. Yes, that's it. He was at Chelsea before, wasn't it? He joined Chelsea, but it wasn't used that much, and then he went to Werder Bremen, signed for Wolfsburg for 18 million in 2014. Then he established himself as one of the best players in the Bundesliga. Then in 2015 he joined Manchester City. So let me just look at this timeline. So as I said, they had the straight back to back from 2020, but they're picking up these key chess pieces along the way, and it's going to add up. It's going to add up. But he joined for 54 million, and he's done everything here. Champions League, 6 Premier League. Do you know how amazing that is? 6 Premier League titles. 6. One person. 6. That is actually an amazing statistic. 5 League Cups, 2 FA Cups, and he got 100. He helped them to get 100 points. 2017 to 2018, most assists in the Premier League season, Player of the Season. Yeah, he's a key player. Absolute key player. Imagine. So this is where you can say it's not a money thing. It's not a money thing because, do you know why it's not a money thing? Chelsea had him. The fee, 7 million. Okay. He later gets traded to Manchester City for 54 million. But the point I'm making is, if Chelsea kept him and developed him and adjusted their team to fit him in, probably as a key player, it's a good argument to suggest that Chelsea didn't recognise the worth that Kevin De Bruyne could bring to their team. But they let him go on loan or whatever it is, and then he's essentially made them regret that decision. He definitely has. He's since then 6 Premier League titles. That could have been Chelsea. So for those who are saying that Manchester City bought success, and you can say, okay, well, they waited to see whether he could prove his worth, and he did by doing well in the Bundesliga. But Chelsea had that opportunity too. They did, and they turned him away. So anyway, at the moment, I'm more on the side of them not having bought success. I'll be honest with you. But we're gonna have to see, and it's gonna take some investment. And let's say, for example, yeah, but again, that's not even a good argument. I'm just thinking. So say for example, you've got an unknown, a lesser known team. Let's say like a Bolton or a, I don't know, Middlesbrough or something. If that particular club gets similar investment to Manchester City, would they do as well? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't have a crystal ball, but safe to say, Manchester City, prior to 2000 I would say prior to 2002, more particularly, did have a period of decline. So nobody was screaming Man City like that because they weren't doing well. So, and it's not like a Man United or Liverpool, who most people would say have always had some level of success. So it's noted. So I mean that's right. But look, let me have your comments in the down below. I want to thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing. As I say, I really appreciate it. Been looking at Manchester City. I mean, in terms of for the future, I'm not sure how things are going to change. Look, they've got such great players who work together. I'm not quite sure what happened today with them losing the FA Cup, though. Not sure about that. That is a bit of a blip. Is that marking an end to this upward trajectory? I don't think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they're in the who's in the Champions League final this year? I don't think they're in the Champions League final this year. So is there a blip in their trajectory? Let me just check that. is there a blip in there? You know, it isn't. It's Dortmund and Real Madrid. Last year it was them, treble. But maybe you could argue, you know, how can they be expected to maintain that trajectory? So maybe, you know, is this an end to the success? Is that what we're seeing for the future of Manchester City? Is Manchester United going to take this as a spur to try to, you know, continue to do better? Arsenal were clipping at Manchester City's heels, points wise in the Premiership this season. Does Arsenal have, you know, if they make certain tweaks, are Arsenal be able to overcome the successful pressure that Manchester City have built up? You know, is that what we're seeing for 2025? We'll see. But, you know, for now, Manchester City's running things. Manchester City is running things, but they're not running the FA Cup. So look, big up Arsenal. I have to say big up Arsenal. Next season might be ours, but for now, apart from the FA Cup, it seems like it's still Manchester City's, man. For now, but that soon change. But, you know, let me have your comments, please. Like, share, comment and subscribe. Really appreciate what people are doing with the channel, watching the content. It's really growing. Really appreciate that. And yeah man, Manchester City FC. Hey, big up you lot and you lot's fans though. But for now, done talking. Everything is allegedly. Please do your own research. We will not be held liable for anything said in this video. The comments in this video do not reflect the views of the owners or participants of the channels. Please do your own research. Everything said is for entertainment purposes only, and we will not be liable thereof. But for now, done talking. That's been a video on Manchester City FC. Yep. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Big up the watchers and listeners and subscribers. Yeah.